However, this quota is yet to be met.
The cultural norms, they feel like when you are a woman and you're not married, you don't stand fit to lead.
We must encourage all women to come up and work as a team so that we can deliver more seats come 2022.
Join me this Sunday on the Dadas Show at 4 p.m. as we dig deeper into the barriers that are limiting women to participate in politics. Join us.
Well, thank you for keeping it KBC. This is the Lunchtime News. A very warm welcome to the broadcast. Now, top focus this afternoon, President Uhuru Kenyatta has increased the minimum wage by 12%. My colleague John Jacob Kuria is at the Nyayo National Stadium, where the country has marked the celebrations of the 57th Labor Day. Kuria, good afternoon. Give us an update from Nyayo National Stadium.
Thank you very much, Irene. It has been a big win at the International Labor Day celebrated here at Nyayo National Stadium, probably for the first time ever, a 12% pay increase by President Uhuru Kenyatta and his government. And you can be sure it's a big win for workers. I'm sure this is what they were expecting as President Kenyatta's gift as he exits. And probably even before we talk more, let me engage Mwalimu Omboko Milemba, who is the MP for Emuhaya. A ball has been thrown to MPs, but even before we talk about the ball that has been thrown to MPs, very quickly, your quick reaction to the 12% increase by President Uhuru Kenyatta.
This was a very big win, and we want to thank the President. Very, very big win for the workers of Kenya. The biggest win, in fact, in his entire term of 10 years. A 12% increase on the minimum wage is fantastic, because minimum wage is used in calculation of all CBS. So it means in future, as we calculate the CBS and determine the CBS, they will certainly be better, and the other workers who are in higher cadre will be able to get even more. So a big win for the workers. It was a surprise. Nobody expected that this would come, and I think it's a very, very big win for the workers. He equally talked about the law that governs NSSF. I don't know why sometimes people want to scare the Wananchi and workers generally that the President does not want workers to sit on NSSF, because when Atuoli requested for it, he has actually given 2 days for a worker to be represented on the NSSF. Yet, when we are outside here, you are threatened that workers are not supposed to be on NSSF. But the worst case scenario is the case of where the workers were removed from NHIF. It is me who moved the amendment that court to be returned to NHIF. But somewhere there was a feeling in the House that the government does not want court to be in NHIF. So we lost it because of fear. I would wish that Parliament now and even in future should be independent and make good decisions that affect Wananchi, workers and everybody else without fear of feeling that they are operating under the umbrella of somebody else. This bill failed as I watched. And the last day when I was to move it, I had broken my arm and we lost it. That's why court is not on NHIF. I will be going back to Parliament to move an amendment to that particular law so that COTU is on NHIF.
The President has passionately spoke about the cost of living in the country and trying to explain where his government is as it tries to cushion the members of the public from the high cost of living. Do you think the explanations were convincing enough?
Yeah, in terms of, when it comes to the cost of living, he has explained himself. He has finally even explained the subsidy that is on the fuels, which is true. There's 29 shillings on petrol and there's about 40 on diesel, which is good for the government. But how we lost it was that money at one point was spent by Treasury on other things. It was spent on another work, and that's how we lost the reserve that otherwise has been cushioning Kenya. So maybe the message again should have been very, very harsh on after dealing with Mungo, who stands in for the employers and who are taking away fuel to other countries, and fuel which has been subsidized by the Kenyan government, he should have also asked Treasury not to touch on the subsidy money, so that we shall never go back again to the scenario where we were, where every Kenyan is queuing for fuel. So the explanations must be accompanied by action at Treasury and also at every other level. It's also very important that he takes action so that the price of unga, the price of mafuta ya kupika, in fact is the worst because it has increased by 41%, and other essentials calm down, because basically that's what our country needs. And if the food prices will go high, it's very dangerous, because that is how revolutions do begin.
Lastly, before I let you go, Mheshimiwa, you belong to the Kenya Kwanza Alliance. You know, Labour is about politics. You had the president himself talking about the politics of this year, and who has been helping him and who has not.
Politics is determined by many, many factors, which I don't want to enumerate. I'm a teacher. But here I came here because I'm a teacher and I'm also a leader of the labor movement, that is KUPPET. And everything the president said is correct, because that was his view. The rest of the other people can have their view another day. Thank you so much.
Such diplomacy from Mwalimu Omoka Vilemba, the Member of Parliament for Emuhaya. And like I've told you, this is a really major day for workers for the first time in a very long time. Remember, the last time government reviewed the minimum wage was in 2018. So you can imagine for 4 years, there's not been an upward review of the minimum wage. It was standing at 13,572. Now you can imagine a 12% increase, what that would mean for the common worker. And that is what President Uhuru Kenyatta has done here, including giving concessions that now Kotu can have a representative in the NSSF board, which has not been happening for some time. Now, Parliament also has a role to play in terms of formulating legislation to allow the Kotu representative to also sit on the NHIF board, so that workers have somebody who can oversight the use or appropriation of their monies that go to NSSF as well as NHIF. But you cannot miss on succession politics that has played out here, as President Uhuru Kenyatta went direct for his deputy, saying that when I was looking for assistance, for somebody to help me, you were not available. Instead, you were throwing insults. And the president saying insults will not build the country. That is why he went for Raila Odinga, who has been assisting him in solving the solutions of this problem. And the president is saying the cost of living, the high cost of living, cannot be blamed on me or any person in the Republic of Kenya, because there was COVID-19, and then immediately after that, the conflict in Russia and Ukraine, and says that cannot be blamed on him. And therefore, for any leader to stand on a public podium to blame him is actually dishonest, and has said probably Kenyans have an opportunity in August this year to decide on who should lead them. I want to bring it back to you, Irene Muchuma. Obviously, we'll be compiling comprehensive stories that will be airing at 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. But for now, back to you, Irene.
Well, Kyoria, good to have you this coming 100 days to the next general election. President Uhuru Kenyatta having less than 3 months in office. And how prepared are you ahead of the next general election? Be sure to catch up with my colleagues from 6 to 7 p.m. before we bring you more details on the news making headlines from the Labor Day celebrations. That will be Harith Salim and Gladys Mungai on Kenya Ya Amua. Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta has increased the minimum wage by 12% effective 1st of May 2022. The president said in appreciating the inflation facing the Kenyan workers and the further erosion of the purchasing power, there was a compelling reason that the minimum wage is adjusted upwards to help their purchasing power. The president, who addressed the 57th Labor Day celebrations at Nyayo National Stadium, said the Kenyan worker had shown great resilience in the eyes of hardships created by the COVID-19 pandemic and now the Russian-Ukraine war that has battered the world economy. The president, using the opportunity to hit at a group of leaders he said had abandoned him at the time of need for solutions to many challenges facing the country, and instead has turned to accuse him.
Further, acknowledging the increased cost of living, with inflation currently hovering between 5% and 6% annually. In that regard, and in full appreciation of the critical contribution that our Kenyan workers have made to our economy during that very difficult time, as a caring government, we find there is a compelling case to review the minimum wages so as to cushion our workers against further erosion of their purchasing power, while also guaranteeing the competitiveness of our economy. And in that context, I today declare an increase of the minimum wage by 12 percentage points with effect from the 1st of May 2022, yani leo.
Residents of Sabwani village, Ikolomani constituency in Kakamega County are living in fear after 2 Nyumba Kumi officials were brutally murdered by suspected robbers before an angry mob attacked and killed one of the suspects. According to the villagers, the Nyumba Kumi officials, Jackson, aged 40, and Johnson, aged 45, were on their way to arrest a notorious criminal at his home who was with his accomplice, turned on them and stabbed them to death. Angry villagers retaliated by killing one of the suspects and then setting fire on houses of the criminal, who is currently at large. Ikolomani Deputy Police Chief George Opere said police officers have launched a manhunt for the suspects.
Hao watoto walikuwa wawili. Mmoja akatoroka na huyu papa akapaki ndani. Bila alipaki ndani na watu wote wakafuata huyo mwenye alikuwa ametoroka. Assistant alipaki hapa peke yake. Akasumbukana, alikuwa anapika simu kwa polisi, wanamkataza, hakuna mtu.
Sasa kitu kuna nasikia kelele. Watu wanasema, "Oh, wanashika yeye." Sisi tunakimbia. Tunakuja hapa. Kukuja kufika utu kwa njia tunasikia, "Oh, papu anaua chaka." Saa hiyo ndio sisi tunakuja tunapika nduru. Tulipata tu chaka anakufa. Huyo mwingine tulikutana kama yuko kwa pikipiki panapelekwa hospitali.
Ni ombi langu tu kwa serikali, tafadhali tufanye hima huyu kijana aweze kushikwa ili sisi pia tukue salama. Kwa sasa hivi tuna usalama kabisa, usalama umedorora. Na pia serikali, tafadhali popote ulipo tusikie. Hii ni ombi letu pia. Si vizuri kuona mtu akifariki.
In case they found or they get information of any theft, they should incorporate the police before visiting the scene or before doing any search, so that police can protect them. They should not go alone without the police. Had it that they went to the police, this death could have not been happened.
Over 100 families in Akriamasi sub-county of Teso South have been displaced by floods following the ongoing heavy rains. The rains that have been pounding the region for the last 5 days has also swept away a known number of domestic animals, households and crops. The residents are now calling on the government to come to their aid.
This is Akriamasi sub-location, Teso South. The aftermath of floods. Families displaced, animals swept away, and crops destroyed. The situation has been perennial, with the residents appealing for help as starvation and waterborne diseases beckons.
Sasa hakuna mahali popote ambapo tumeweza kuhamia, ila tumejaribu kuokoa malazi na mifugo, lakini bado tumeambulia patupu, kwa sababu utaanza kuhama na wapi ukielekea wapi, hakuna mahali.
Maji imetusomba kila kitu. Imesomba mboga, miwa na mtama, soya. Jinsi mkubwa alivyosema hivyo, tunahatarika. Hata wengine nyumba zao zimesomba na maji. Mienda na kuku, vitanda, hawana mahali pa kuishi. So kwa hivyo tunaomba serikali kama ndio kutusaidia msaada kidogo, ili nasi tujimuide nayo. Na tunaomba ya kwamba kama inaweza kuletea hata neti, tunaathirika na umbu pia zaidi. na chakula hatuna.
Area Assistant Chief Judith Echosit appealed to the government to intervene and support the community.
My appeal to the government, I request the government to come over and take an immediate action so that my residents should not face, might be starvation due to lack of food. The government appeal once more that should supply some relief food to the residents of Okuyama sublocation because this is the most area affected.
The MCA Amukura Westward said learning had come to a standstill due to the ongoing rains, with schools like Oderia Primary School suffering the wrath.
Learning imekuwa terminated completely kwa sababu imefurika maji ambayo hata choo haina, hata kuingia kwa darasa hakuna nafasi. Only solution ni DAEX peke yake, na hiyo ikifanywa, na alihakikisha wananchi ya kwamba atatufanyia DAEX katika hii area kuzibia maji bure. Watu wataangamia, au kama bila DAEX watu watapatiwe land mahali wanaweza kuhama, wajengewe maboma waishi huko.
The leaders are now calling on the government and NGOs to build dikes, which could be the only solution to floods that have affected the region since independence.
Hii mafuriko tangu nizaliwe sijawahi kusikia, kwa sababu mimi mtu ambaye 1961 nilikuwa nikiishi, it only happened 1961 ndio mafuriko yalikuwa heavy vile imetendeka leo. Wahisani wengi, Red Cross, World Vision and any other, waje hapa waokoe wananchi wa hii area. Ikiwezekana wapewe makao, hata tents, kwa sababu leo hawatakuwa na mahali pa kulala, hawatakuwa na chakula, kwa sababu watapikia wapi?
Ruth Wamboi for Lunchtime News.
The Computer Society of Kenya has urged organizations to capitalize on strategic policies in data protection to avert cybersecurity challenges. Speaking in Mombasa during the 29th edition of ICT Managers Congress, Yusuf Kileu, a cybersecurity and forensic expert, said organizations need to conduct background checkups before hiring individuals in ICT infrastructure to combat emerging challenges.
Apart from that, we had another one which says,
in October year 2020, Cabinet Secretary for Information, Communication Technology, Information and Youth Affairs gazetted the data protection regulations. In view of this act, Kileu says there is need for ICT managers to have trainings on emerging technology trends to protect data and challenges from within organizations.
Encourage organization to follow different steps that probably these gentlemen that have attended this particular workshop, when they go back to the organization, they'll be able to see how they can put together these managing this particular kind of challenges, how they can protect data, how they can limit the privilege of these individuals not to become a threat to the particular organizations. All these kind of things have been covering. I believe they'll be helpful to make sure that they combat this particular challenge of threats from within.
Kileu added that a training will equip ICT managers with better skills and enhance seamless, secure information sharing within departments. Peter Owenje, a resource person officer at Computer Society of Kenya, said such workshops will help on deliberation on issues affecting network management and interaction among heads of ICT from different organizations.
Key things that we offer is the ability for them to interact with each other, the ability for them to share ideas, and the ability for them to realize and enhance certain skill sets which are either trained or are brought about through the conferencing capabilities.
KBC head of ICT Ben Mwala said the national broadcaster is committed to lead from the front in matters convergence and digital news platforms.
And what I've really picked from this workshop is that most of the activities we do nowadays are really IT driven, and the workshop is really equipping us with the information for us to be able to take this back to our organizations. There's a lot of, right now there's a lot of convergence. When you look at, for example, at KBC, digital media is really emerging, and so we need to leverage on the modern IT trends for us to be able to implement and make KBC really to have an edge in terms of digital media.
Also been able to learn how to do budgeting, how to be able to get financing, how to sit on the round table as ICT professionals. We have also learned learned how to leverage on different strategies to be able to get either funding from outside, to be able to cater for our core businesses, and be able to also bring change to our organizations, especially after the pandemic, when we realize that technology is being used a lot to be able to achieve our organizational strategies, policies and procedures.
Technology, we are looking into making sure that our county government services have gone online. We have quite a number of services which we introduced online, like the single business permit, like the fire permit, and e-construction. You can be able to just apply any of the permits online at any time, so that you can be able to start your project.
The Computer Society of Kenya was established in the year 1986.
Herders from Isinya in Kajiado County have urged the national government to beef up security in the area following a recent theft of livestock by suspected cattle rustlers. The herders, who claim to have lost 388 goats and 77 cows with an estimated value of 17 million shillings in the last 3 months, are now accusing the security officers in the area of laxity.
Isinya, Kajiado County, a region where majority of its residents depend highly on livestock for food and trade. But in the last 3 months, herders drawn from the region and its environs have been in dejection. The group is crying foul of rampant livestock theft that has been witnessed in the area.
Hii serikali yetu ya county hawataki kushika wezi, kwa sababu waliba hiyo mbuzi saa 7 na tulienda tukarikava hiyo mbuzi, na hawa watu hajawahi shikwa, na kuna OB ambao tumeandika na magari yote ambayo ili inabeba mbuzi na inabeba ng'ombe tumeleta hapa na haijawahi shughulikiwa.
On Thursday night, thieves gained entry at Mokira Oloyendo Kisaju's home and made away with 22 goats.
Achukua wa mabaa ikifanya starehe yao, lakini mbuzi, ng'ombe, kama mimi mwenyewe nimeibiwa ng'ombe 70, mbuzi ya mtoto wangu imeibiwa mbuzi 38, ya kijana mwingine imeibiwa mbuzi 40, na una siku moja imeshukua hata moja.
The animals were later recovered by herders who managed to track the vehicle that was ferrying the stolen animals. The angry herders are now calling for government intervention as they accuse the area security officers of laxity.
Hatujawahi pata hiyo watu mpaka leo. Na sisi tunasema kitu moja. Hii kitu imekuwa too much. Na tunaomba wakubwa wetu wa usalama kwa ngazi za juu, kutoka kwa Matiang'i mpaka kwa county commissioner. Hatutaki huyo OSPD Isinya, na hatutaki DCI, na hatutaki hata transfer, ni kuacha kazi. Sababu mtu ambaye ako na shida ukipeleka mahali nyingine, si atapeleka hiyo shida. Tunaomba aachishwe kazi na hata afungwe kwa kudhulumu wananchi na kukataa kufanya kazi na ile ofisi aliandikiwa. Ndio tunauliza serikali, tafadhali, hatuna livelihood nyingine, tusaidieni tupate ng'ombe zetu na mbuzi zetu, manake polisi wameweka roadblocks ni za nini barabarani. Naomba pia, ninataka kusisitiza, hatumtaki DCIO, hatutaki OCPD. Unaona pia na threaten watu wa press ambao pia wako kwa kazi.
The herders claim to have lost 388 goats and 77 cows with an estimated value of 17 million shillings in the last 3 months.
OSPD Isinya police station ama Isinya sub county ndio anasimamia usalama na information yote inaingia wapi? Yeye ndio mkubwa wa sub county. Mahali tunaibiwa Kisaju, Isinya, wangeshughulikia hiyo maneno. Ile ripoti tunaweka hapa ni mingi sana.
Frederick Mwoki for Lunchtime News.
Well, welcome to Channel 1 Sports News. Helen Obiri will hit the road once again at the Bengaluru 10-kilometer race in India on May 15th. It will be the first time for the two-time Olympic 5,000 meters silver medalist to run in the Asian nation, having laid out her plans last year of transitioning to road races. She will be joined in the women's race by 2017 Bengaluru 10-kilometer champion Irene. Cheptai is also on a good run of form, having finished second in her last race in April at the Prague Half Marathon, clocking 1 hour, 7 minutes and 16 seconds.
Well, she's run under 13:20 plenty of times, and whatever pace that we're heading for here, the world record is 14:11. That's going to go, so that green light is just going to be passed by Obiri, but it certainly wasn't a world record pace that was on. But that doesn't matter. It's a superb run from Helen Obiri, the world champion.
Carlo Ancelotti became the first manager to win the league in all 5 of Europe's major leagues as Real Madrid beat Espanyol 4-0 to win La Liga. Manchester City produced the perfect response to Premier League title rivals Liverpool by outclassing Leeds United 0-4